let the podcast blow. Digital coins, we dissect them quick. Blazing insights, Lee and Nick. Price prediction sharper than a sword. Macro games, we break the board. The Moonshot Dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact. Volatility flips, we call the game. Market cap moves, never the same. Blockchain buzzing, the future's tech. Analyzing trends, keep it all in check. Dollar signs, the charts align, while the bulls and the bears intertwine. Fed talk rates climb or decline. We decode the nodes, it's all by design. The Moonshot Dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact. Lee and Nick with the Moonshot flow. Dispatch live, let the market glow. Crypto vibes where the numbers show. To the moon we go, let the podcast blow. Digital coins, we dissect them quick. Blazing insights, Lee and Nick. Price prediction sharper than a sword. Macro games, we break the board. The Moonshot Dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact. Volatility flips, we call the game. Market cap moves, never the same. Blockchain buzzing, the future's tech. Analyzing trends, keep it all in check. Dollar signs, the charts align, while the bulls and the bears intertwine. Fed talk rates climb or decline. We decode the nodes, it's all by design. The Moonshot Dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact.
Welcome back, Dispatchers. It's a great week. It is a great week. Bitcoin back over 80,000.
Over 80K, baby.
Yes. Hey, where's the green lights, Jared? Where's the green lights?
You just turned the screen off.
Turn the green lights on. I can't move forward until we have green lights. Yeah, there it is. Back over 80K since January, first time. Best month, April, up at nearly 12%. Best month of the year, well, for a year. It feels like a lot longer, though, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
This bear market. It hasn't even been that cold. I'm just being used to up only. And now I'm having to deal...
In an inverse chart, I'm deep in bear territory. I mean, to be honest, for me, this doesn't feel... Like, it's just been grinding. We haven't had any crazy days. And maybe I've been spoiled by, the day, 2016 and 2017 when you'd sort of get these ridiculous candles. And there were, those memes came out where, the guy's looking at the chart on his computer and the green candle was so big it put a hole through his roof.
Yes.
We're not seeing that. It's just grinding. To me, this is like a wall of worry. That wall of, hey, it grinds up the wall of worry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the quote of the week is from analyst Charles Edwards, who claims, I don't know, I haven't looked at his numbers, but he's saying that the Bitcoin demand from institutions, ETFs, 500x times that of the daily supply from miners, which is crazy. Yeah. Do you have any detail on the numbers? Because that's outrageous.
Well, we actually spoke about this last week when I was talking about what Sailor and the ETFs purely are doing, nothing to do with any other market stuff. I included Sailor, and to be fair, I think Sailor was doing the lion's share of buying back then. This is last week, but those numbers look real to me. I actually did the calculations myself.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said last week. It was something like, I think every day we mint 450 Bitcoin, and every day Sailor and ETFs are buying 2,600 Bitcoin. So that sounds about right. Yeah.
It's not 500 times the daily supply.
No, 500%, mate. It's
well,
five times.
Well, Jared, these notes say 500x. Claude has dutted you.
Well, last week he did say 6x, and so maybe the numbers are slightly different a week on.
No, but he's saying 500x.
My notes say 500x.
Well, look, one of you is wrong.
2 orders of magnitude off. I know who's wrong.
It's
Claude.
Claude. Who wrote these?
You leave Claude alone.
Yeah.
Claude is...
how dare you, we finally found a friend for Jared. Remember that? So Claude.
Yes, we did.
Claude, Jared's new friend. He's been non-stop talking about Claude all day.
He's been non-stop talking about having a friend.
Getting kind of serious.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you got a friend. You know what else has kept his friends? Tom Lee. It's reason to celebrate. Tom Lee is also very happy this week. Yeah, now, I saw a meme and it made me immediately think of Tom Lee. Do you want to see it? Do you want to throw it up there, Jared?
Which one?
The one about Tom Lee getting divorced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw this. So Ethereum is also up 7%, almost 7.5% this week, which is great. Dogecoin is absolutely pumping, also 12% this week. Now, Cardano, I'm sorry, Jared, still only a modest 1.1%, but we'll take it. I saw this and I thought of Tom Lee.
Yeah.
What is the name of the stock you lost your money on? No, it's not. It's called a stock. It's called Ethereum, and it's a revolutionary financial technology. Whatever, mate. The divorce oil leads to no. But you know what? Tom Lee's probably not getting divorced this week. Maybe next week.
I mean, you can't get divorced when you're already divorced. Like, I assume that guy has been mega divorced.
Well, anyway, he's 7.3% richer, so that's good. So, no, everything's up across the board. Actually, market seems to be going well.
I'd love to know, Tom, we always see these for the strategy stuff. Everyone knows, Michael Saylor's break-even points, like in the mid-70s somewhere. So he's doing okay. I'd love to know what Tom Lee's break-even point is. Because he's, it'll be easily calculable. All of his purchases are, publicly telegraphed. Maybe Jared could do some Googling instead of Clauding. Or maybe Claude can tell us.
You guys can't see it on screen, but he's busily drinking Mountain Dew instead of working.
Claude doesn't let him drink alcohol anymore.
Oh, those things. That's a sign of an abusive relationship. Yeah. That looks like coercive control to me, Jared.
At least I still have my database.
But anyway, this...
For now.
Well, we are going to get into that because the internet was not happy with you once again, Nick. Then again, the internet's not ever happy with you. Either they're ignoring you or they're giving you grief.
Wow.
Choose your pick. I know that sounds harsh, but I've got evidence. Now, this week, the Trump, for the first time in a long time, was not making headlines. In fact, the US was out there escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Didn't even make a headline because the only thing people care about this week is... JP Morgan Saga.
Yes.
You were like, how are you going to bring that up? But like, we have to talk about it because it's all the internet wants to discuss this week.
Yeah.
Should we come back to it maybe later? We'll work our way into it. We'll see. All right. I said I'd bring it up.
I didn't believe you.
You didn't believe me.
Yeah.
All right. So we need to address the concerns with your performance, Nick. Oh, wait. Just in case you've been living under a rock. So I'm really going after you today, Nick. For a change. Normally you're the one giving me grief.
Slowly just...
Yeah, that's right. Well, I saw. You know what? Rory was on a couple of weeks ago, and she did an amazing job. But she gave you a lot of softball questions.
Yes. I thought
She
even
just-
like...
She didn't bring any balance at all. She just let you get away with murder.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, here's a question that Rory clearly thought of. Wasn't a softball question for me, Nick.
Yeah.
Man, I'm being harsh. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's true. I literally wrote the question. What am I going to do? So, why are you so ugly and fat? I'm like, oh.
Oh, well,
The
again.
meme of the week is your new boss at JP Morgan takes you out for coffee.
Yeah, I imagine unless you've been living under a rock, you've strayed onto the internet at any point this week, you're probably aware of the JP Morgan saga, but not strictly crypto, so we probably can't really touch on it. Or
Yeah,
can
'cause
we?
She did.
All right. So this week we're going to get stuck into the comments from the shorts this week.
Okay. I thought
Okay.
we're going to get stuck into Nick. No, the comments
Check.
that get stuck into
I've
Nick.
already done that. All right. So first things first. Jared, pull up one of the questions and let's discuss. Comments. Sorry.
Comments.
Comments. Here we go. So the first comment is, oh man, that's so far away. I can't see it. The people at home can see it. But we can't.
Read it out to us, Jared.
Okay. It says, far out. What did you take a screenshot with? Like, was this like a
Using this.
screenshot
Oh yes.
for ants?
Okay. Sorry.
Using it on the safest way possible. He literally gave it access to files it shouldn't. Just run Docker and this doesn't happen.
Sure, buddy.
All right, so we probably need some context.
So a bit of context here, yes. So last week, Nick discussed AI going rogue. There was a developer who was doing some software for some real estate, and basically Claude got in there. And it wasn't Claude, sorry. It was AI got in there and just deleted all
was
his
Claude, I
customer
think.
files. Oh, was it Claude?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, Jared, you want to have a word to your mate? I don't like some of this behaviour.
I don't think it was Claude, actually. I think it was something else. But that's here or there.
Well,
Anyway.
you know what? You might as well get stuck into me as well. 'Cause
I only found this out recently, too. It's a great story. Don't let facts get in the way.
Well, the story here, after Nick just said they were using all the safeguards necessary, the internet seems to be like, no, they didn't at all. Sorry, mate. Fact checking you. Actually,
yeah.
they weren't using any safeguards at all. Here's your chance to respond, Nick.
I'm supposed to respond to this. No, I mean, it's okay. So what I was saying was that a lot of comments in past hacks for this kind of thing, people have said that, you know, oh, the person who got in trouble was using like a crappy AI that wasn't very smart, didn't have a big context window, and, you know, therefore it's not the AI's fault because it's just, you know, doing the best it can kind of thing, the little engine that could. But in this case, the guy that, like, this wasn't the case. We couldn't really blame, you know, the lack of AI power because the guy was using the full AI. Yes, there were absolutely other things that this guy could have done to stop this from happening. But the fact is, if you're using AI properly, like when I say properly, if you're using, you know, a full multi-agent AI system, I don't know if you guys have heard of this thing called Gas City, but it is just ridiculous the things you can do. But to do any of this ridiculous stuff where you are literally 100,000xing your productivity, you need to give it a lot of access because if it's constantly going, oh, I can't reach that file, or I need to know if I'm allowed to do this, you might as well just be doing it yourself almost. So this company who ran some rental software, I think, they basically gave it access to do everything it had to do, but then it did a bunch of stuff that it wasn't supposed to do. That's my like, you know, I see where these people are coming from, and on the face of it, yeah, you know, if the AI could do it, then they gave it too much access. That's kind of the argument, I think. I'm about to get a bunch more comments telling me how I'm wrong. But yeah, but the fact is, you know, if you want AI to be as productive as you're expecting it to be, you need to give it access. Like it's just the fact of it. It's just how things work.
I guess in your. Okay, don't worry. In your defense, there was also a comment saying that he stored the backup templates in the same partition
Same volume.
as his production database.
No, so, that wasn't his fault. So that was how. So this Rails software, which is where it all went wrong. Rails is the partition that got deleted, or it was done through this Rails software somehow. Rails's backup system backs up the database to the same volume that the production stuff is in, and that's a real failure on Rails's part. So theoretically, if the guy was smart, yes, again, we could say, look, you should have known that Rails, this is how Rails operated. It's part, it's in the system docs and whatever, and you should have done your own smart, backing up separately outside of the volume. So therefore, if something bad happened to the volume, you would be safe. So yes, you could blame this company for its lack of foresight there, but really Rails shouldn't be doing this in the first place. It's terrible design. Why would you do that? All you're doing is it's creating this central point of failure, which is going to cause problems, as we've seen. So it wasn't the guy who did it; it was just how Rails did it. But theoretically, yes, okay, the guy should have done it properly. If he'd known that that's how Rails worked.
Thank you.
And I hope I hope it is Rails. Maybe Rails isn't even the name of the software. I'm remembering from weeks ago.
Thanks for clarifying, Nick. Now, that was off the cuff. That was a pretty good response. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I wasn't really prepared.
But you're not done with yet. Well, I'm not done with you yet, Nick, I should say. So the other thing was, seeing as I'm picking on stuff that you did this week, Nick, there was, you love talking quantum AI, but like quantum computing. Now, some people have disagreed with you, and I'm surprised by this, because if you pull it up, the amount of people who actually watched the clip, they still managed to say, hang on, mate, this is a concern over nothing. Maybe we'll get up later.
Jared's busy typing to his friends. Probably Claude.
Claude.
I was just one of our listeners on TikTok who just stumbled across our live stream saying, just tuning in, what's the subject matter? We don't know.
The subject matter is the crypto news for the week.
Get them to pick it.
Yeah.
So
Throw us up a comment and we'll discuss it.
We're happy to chat about it.
Yeah, this is an interactive stream, so if you've got any comments, questions, put them in the chat.
Yep.
Ostensibly a crypto chat, but we can digress.
Yeah. I know you want to get to that JP Morgan thing, so.
Does the internet?
Yeah.
Yes, so the other one as well. So there was the other comment about, we discussed some oil, even though, again, we're a crypto podcast.
I mean, it's all related. Everything's,
It's all interlinked. I made a comment last week, and I thought I was going to get fact-checked, because I made a comment that oil ends up being about 20%, gasoline for your car. Turns out it's actually about 40, so I was way off. Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd get fact-checked on that. But the people, Jared, when he's finished talking to Claude, will bring up the comments.
Which one?
You weren't listening at all, were you?
About the oil.
We can talk about the AI one. What they basically said that AI is not a problem.
No, if you look at the AI one, no one watched the clip.
Oh,
47 people watched it.
Nice.
But anyway, I won't harp on the fact that nobody was really interested in the quantum AI discussion. I think you already know my views on that. But no one was interested. Now, the other comment we want to address is on the topic of oil. I made a comment last week around the amount of the dependency we have on oil, not just for cars, but the way oil is interwoven with our entire modern industry, from everything from our roads to the plastics to the way things just arrive in our laps. It all is really oil dependent, how we get around cars and changing it. And so my comment was really much around how ingrained fossil fuels are with everything to do with our modern society. Everything from the plastics that we rely on for our materials, through to how our goods are moved around, to how we literally drive around on roads. And finding a replacement for this, the comment that we got from one of our listeners was, that's great, but what happens when we run out in 100 years? And I'm like, well, first comment, I'm going to be dead. So are you. So
well,
it's kind of your kids' problems.
I'm not planning on being dead.
Really? Well, you're not planning on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to keep living.
Okay.
We'll have the technology soon. I don't know if you're a bit of a beta, you decide, I'll die. But no, I'm not doing it.
We had on our podcast, again, digressing, but look, at least as far as the oil is concerned, I don't know what's going to happen in 100 years. Hopefully we work something out though. Yes, but totally accept your point that it would be nice to move away from fossil fuels into other more sustainable materials, and we have to try. But it's going to be very, very difficult to get there. It was probably more my point.
Yeah, I guess.
And I don't know how we're going to get there.
And I think we talked about this last week as well. So a lot of anytime you burn a fossil fuel, that's not great. Obviously, you're putting carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide into the air. But the other stuff like going into bitumen and going into plastics and clothing and whatever, you know, that's locked up. Like you're not releasing that. The problem with fossil fuels isn't digging it up. Well, that can be a problem, I suppose. But the main problem isn't digging it up. It's releasing it into the atmosphere, and then you know the heat gets trapped and our oceans warm up and fish die and whatever. That happens from burning fossil fuels. So when you said before, what was it, 20% was used in the cars, that was 40%. A good news story. But now it's 40%. That's like not as good.
No, it sounds
but
good.
I mean, it's still like, you know, yeah, obviously we want to burn less and everyone should be driving electric cars and bicycles and whatever. But yeah, it's a lot of the other stuff that it gets used for in modern society is more like a carbon capture kind of thing. You're taking it out of the ground, but then just still putting it into something that doesn't get released into the atmosphere.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Moving along.
Checked on that.
So the next one I wanted to share with people, because we discussed this as a news story maybe 2 weeks ago, was around the North Koreans. How to pick a North Korean. So if you want to pick a North Korean, all you really have to do is say to them, because I get there's such a cult of personality around the leader Kim Jong-un, that if you ask them to say Kim Jong-un is a fat, ugly pig, which should be pretty easy to roll off the tongue.
Yeah, it just came to you pretty easily.
Yeah.
You're obviously not a North Korean then.
Let's play it. Let's see this. This is an actual footage of it happening.
Hey, you're back. What happened?
Yeah. Okay. I just the trophies issue. I think. But I just connect.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I was in the process of saying like we get like a lot of imposter candidates, you know, particularly North Koreans, like posing as like people that they're not. So one of the tests that we do is trying to get them to say something like Kim Jong-un is a fat, ugly pig. Could you say that for me?
Xinjiang?
So no, Kim Jong-un, you know, the leader of North Korea.
Yeah. I should say like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could, because it's one test so that I know that you're not North Korean.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Can you say it?
We've got
Damn,
dungeons.
he really don't want to say it.
Either way, he's screwed, right? He doesn't get the job, or he goes.
That's incredible. That is incredible. I'd heard this story, but I hadn't seen the footage before, so we got a bit of an echo. Look, there's probably...
Yeah. Well, I'm just waiting for... I mean, I think we talked about this before as well. They're going to get, you know, the royal dispensation and they're allowed to say that specific sentence. And maybe then we come up with a new sentence, you know, that's slightly worse. Because I thought Kim Jong-un is a fat, ugly pig. That's not that bad, right? Like, it's disrespectful to him, obviously, but... You know, I would have thought the sentence would be something way worse. But then I guess it's a bit much like if they're not North Korean, you're making someone say something really vulgar.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess you got to, you know, if they're legitimate, then it's a bit harsh. But, you know, this is the world we live in. You've got to protect yourself.
He almost tried pretending to say something similar, like Kim Jong-shin. Like, he tried, but he just couldn't bring himself to do it.
Would you believe?
Yeah, fascinating. Anyway, I thought I'd bring that story to life. All right, Nick, that's our wrap.
All right.
We're done, except for all the rest of it. All right, first one, carrying on with the story. So we look like Polymarkets, you know, you don't have to believe me. Polymarkets are saying we're a 68% chance of finally getting the Clarity Bill done. We have followed this story for months now. As far as I can tell, 11th of May, the week commencing 11th of May, we believe there's going to be some action here. There has been some compromise of which nobody's happy with around, you know, the contentious issue in the state and the Clarity Act being, will crypto be able to offer yield? Crypto platforms be able to offer yield or not? The answer is maybe, but not really.
Yeah, they're allowing it's just interest with extra steps, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
and it seems so petty to me because, you know, in the end, the consumer is getting the interest, but they're not calling it interest. Like, you know, what's the point?
The term was platform-specific activity. There was a word around it, right, which basically said you can do some activity and you can get some...
It was activity-based, it was duration-based, and it was something else based. Like, there was these three kind of specific terms, which, to me, like what it's going to end up boiling down to is they're going to have like some rules, on your Coinbase account or whatever. You hold USDC, you do one qualifying transaction per month, which might just be send 5 USDC to yourself, and then you get the interest, or reward. It's I don't know, like it seems funny. So I thought there was a funny one here. It's like that. It's like
this isn't a pyramid scheme; it's an inverted triangle.
Yeah,
scheme.
yeah. Well, I feel like they're banning interest. They banned. It's like they banned hamburgers, but they're allowing circular meat sandwiches. It's the same thing.
Give me my circular meat sandwich.
And yet they're putting this through all this nonsense to like get what is essentially interest. It seems crazy to me. By the way, what I'm seeing out there is like, we're still only at 67%. So it's definitely not, Polymarket still thinks that this bill might not get through. But if you rewind like 3 days, it was at 44% or something, 46% maybe. So it's definitely, people are much more bullish on this.
Yeah.
Thanks to, what they've essentially agreed to. And what Coinbase Brian Armstrong has come out and said, okay, let's mark this thing up. Let's put it in front of the Senate and get it voted on, kind of thing.
Because we know they have to get it done. So Coinbase's policy chief came out and said, again, it's not interest. We effectively said the ability for Americans to earn rewards based on actual usage.
Yeah.
You can have your round meat sandwich.
As far as I see, like, it just becomes a game of product design, right? Like they're gonna, it's going to be a race to the bottom of the Coinbases of the world. Or of America, I suppose, of the USA, the exchanges of USA sort of figuring out what the least amount of friction that they can provide to the customer to give them this reward. And then someone's going to go a bit too low and they're going to get prosecuted and going to get a slap on the wrist. And then everyone's going to like lift it up a little bit and make it a little bit hard. You know what I mean? Like it's just this race to the bottom to try and whoever has the best product to make it least friction, like to reduce the friction as much as possible. Is gonna sort of win, and then everyone's just gonna follow what that person does, what that company does. It's just a facade, if you ask me. This is silly stuff. But anyway, I guess if the crypto guys are happy with it and we get it through and Clarity Bill's in, so there's still the other topics that we've got to discuss in Clarity Bill as well. So it's not just about rewards or interest, right? We've got the thing about getting Trump out of crypto.
There's some ethics-based usages and stuff like that, which seems to be the main hurdle. Which I don't know, it's probably fair enough. You can't just have people going and ruining the system.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about all that, like, I would have thought that, again, not knowing enough about US lawmaking, but once a bill is passed, there can always be amendments, right? So wouldn't it just be better to get it done? Because you can always amend it later, right?
Yeah,
isn't the nature of laws? You can change them.
Yes, but I think and this exists everywhere in life. I think once it gets in, the chance to amend is probably pretty low. Like if people just, that's why everyone wants to get their one done. Get it done their way up front, because then there's just suddenly this huge friction and barrier to entry. And people are like, no, we've done that. We're moving on to other laws now.
Yeah, because bandwidth is important, I guess, in politics. That's the main thing,
as we've seen. And you see it here, like when I get sort of improvements done internally at Independent Reserve, I want to make sure I get it done right in the first place. Because if I'm like, it's all good, like we can always change the code later. It's like, oh man, my priorities get skewed and I don't get any, it just becomes difficult. So I totally get why they're everyone wants to win in round one, because they know that even though, yes, you can make amendments later, things are horribly bad. Or if there's, the political will to do so, it's just very unlikely, I reckon.
It seems that concession is more or less saying, okay, we won't give you what you want, but we will let you stick your foot in the door. Do you know what I mean? You can keep it slightly ajar so that maybe we can come back and revisit this, but it's going to be hard. Well,
to me with this, what seems to be going through, and this is nice actually, because this is the first time we've actually seen language about it. Every other week we've been talking about this clarity thing. It's all just been, there's something about it and we don't know what it is, and no one's actually released any kind of papers. So the fact that we've got this actual language about duration, activity, and whatever that third one was, I can't remember. It's nice to be able to talk about it specifically. In my mind, this is a win for crypto, because the banks didn't want interest there, because they didn't want people to be able to, or they didn't want people to withdraw money from the banks to deposit it in their exchange account to earn this amazing yield. But the fact is, because of this language and the way it's sort of structured, you're effectively going to be able to earn yield as long as you log into your Coinbase account every so often and do some activity, I'm guessing. You know what I mean? Like and so therefore, you know, as long as you're not dead, you can earn this yield, and it's a win for crypto, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I see it. Like if I'm looking at the banks and the crypto, I feel like crypto's come out a bit on top here, considering what they were aiming for. Crypto guys wanted yield, banks wanted zero deposits at all, zero yield. We're getting yield just under a different name. We've got the circular.
You got the circular meat sandwich. Right? All right, let's take the circular meat sandwich. That's good. Oh, Jared. Jared's got comments.
Someone is absolutely going ham on our TikTok feed. We're up to 462 likes.
All right.
I don't know what's going on.
Ham it on. Ham
You
on.
can only do one like per person, right?
I don't know. It seems we're at 491 and counting.
I think the internet likes it when I give you grief, Nick.
All right.
You've got a
Hit me
formula
again.
for success.
Is that all you got?
Well, we did miss some of the comments with people like in the comments being unhappy with your commentary. So maybe we can bring that up and get ourselves up over 600 likes.
Some arbitrary number. Let's just say 600. Right.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's all good. I just think we can move on.
Oh, we can. Well, the next one we're going to have a chat about. I was going to talk about the crypto-friendly chair being approved. Kevin Walsh.
Kevin Walsh,
My
yeah.
mistake. Kevin Walsh. Impressive name. Now, Kevin Walsh. So the only question on this. So anyway, so I think we talked about this before. Kevin Walsh is there, and he's pro-crypto. And in fact, let me quote: "Digital assets are already part of the fabric of our financial services industry." Okay, thanks, Kev. So Kev and Senator Cynthia Loomis, who has been an advocate for digital assets from the get-go, a stalwart of the industry, I guess, advocate of the industry, saying that has come out more or less said that we should integrate digital assets and the infrastructure now into to modernise our financial infrastructure. Now, those words all sound great. Yes, we all want to modernise our financial infrastructure and get efficiencies.
Hey, that's pretty good.
What are you going to do?
That was right on.
I wasn't looking. I missed that. Okay, you probably like the
Look at that.
yes,
Perfect.
yes. I am the Kevin.
Can you make his mouth move? You know that.
I'll ask Claude.
Yeah, get Claude to make him chat. Oh, look, he's
He's even pretty. Now.
oh, dude, put him back. I don't want to see the other guy.
That just got 72 likes.
Yeah, well, the world loves Kevin. I love Kevin. So, anyway, I wouldn't say this is necessarily Kevin's work. Maybe it is Kevin's work. Oh, there he is. Keep Kevin up there. Keep him up. Hey, look, the shoulders match. Yes. I'm a fan. The DTCC. In fact, every time I'm reading
Can I talk about Kevin Walsh first?
Yes.
Did you know Kevin Walsh's investment portfolio? Thank you. No, I'm talking about myself. Did you know my investment portfolio is over $100 million?
Really?
This guy isn't just some back.
He's not just a handsome
punter.
character.
Yeah, he is mega rich.
Yeah,
$100 million, over $100 million. And so there's all this chat about how the reason why people. The reason why people. Thank you. Now it looks like I'm talking.
So
the reason why people talk.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, the reason why people think he's like in the crypto stuff is because he's he's got all these investments in not like like this guy's not at 2 a.m. in the morning on his Phantom wallet like aping into Pengu coin or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got like a proper family office set up and
Yeah.
he's
a baller.
he's doing it properly.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of investments in like the infrastructure, not bricks and mortar, but like the base layer kind of stuff. So I don't think he's aping into coins per se, but he has a bunch of he's probably invested in the Ethereum Foundation and whatever.
Yeah.
You can't actually see, you don't actually know exactly.
He knows what he's doing.
But my point is like that's why people are talking about him being pro crypto, and I think he's obviously made some comments as well. But I wonder if he even knows what he's investing. Like when you're worth that much money, you're not sitting there like, I'm guessing I wouldn't be sitting there going through the specific investments. I'd be having some smart dude managing it for me. And like every month he'd be like, sir, we're up another 47%. And we'd be like, good job, Jenkins. And, and then you go back to your private yacht or whatever.
Maybe, but also as well, like I feel like he probably has a good idea of the stuff. When someone comes to him and says, hey, explain it to me, he's not just going, you do it, I don't care.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we have no idea, right?
We're just speculating wildly.
I expect, I'm being a bit cynical. I think you're probably right. Like someone like that who's clearly a finance guy, it's not like he's, I don't want to like.
Nick, he
put down
said
anyone.
digital assets are already a part of the fabric of our financial services.
Do you think he wrote that speech?
Oh, I don't know. It's the internet.
When you're
right?
worth $100 million, you don't write your own speeches, all right? Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like, you know, he's a finance guy, so he's probably interested in his investments. You know, he's intelligent and knows about them and blah blah blah. He's not some guy who just ran into a bunch of money and is getting someone else to manage it for him. So yes, I do agree. He probably does understand his investments at a high level, but he's not some sort of crypto degen who's you know going on dexes and doing 1,000x trades or whatever. He's just some super mega rich guy who's gonna be the, like, talk about, you know, they always talk about the Fed chairs and same in Australia, like that, you know, the RBA chair and whatever, being out of touch with
The modern man.
you know, the middle class and the, you know, the general population. And this guy's worth over $100 million and he's like so far out of touch here. I assume, you know what, I'm putting words in my mouth. I'm putting words in his mouth. I don't know.
Maybe
if
he built himself up from nothing. Housing
I
estate
suppose so,
kid,
yeah.
just did well, worked hard in life.
Okay. Should we go with that narrative? I like it.
We're just
This
making it
guy's-
up.
He's
Why
been on
not?
the streets. Yeah. He used to. No, I'm not going to go there.
I mean, look at that 1,000-yard stare he had. I feel like
He
it's
looks-
about-
he looks
Comment
young as
from
well.
Kairatis on TikTok. He's got indirect stakes in Solana, Optimism, and the Bitcoin Lightning Network, and will apparently divest all of his crypto-related holdings. Shortly.
Yeah, I heard about that. So it's all very his like this conflict of interest sort of comes up when you're the guy controlling markets and you have money in all of the markets. Like it's just in your best interest to do some things. But yeah, I don't know.
Why doesn't he just launch his own coin while it's still legal?
Yeah, that's right.
Walsh coin.
Yes, Walsh coin. I am disappointed that he's invested in Lightning Network. I'm hoping he's getting out of Lightning Network, not because of this Fed chair thing, but because of the technicalities and, you know, that Lightning sucks.
No, in fact, I'm pretty sure he told me that when I was chatting to him. Things were just, you know.
Your two mega yachts were passing.
Yeah, exactly.
around
When
each
we
other,
were just
yeah.
floating around, you know.
What are you doing with your holdings?
Yeah.
I'm divesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Lightning Network sucks.
I bought a cheek.
Yeah. Well, when you're sitting around sipping, you know, cocktails off the coast of Amalfi, you're like, sometimes you just got to talk about how many channels you can open up on the Lightning Network. What else are you going to do? Well, okay, so leading straight into practice, the DTCC, which holds over 14 trillion in assets, is piloting a program for the the ongoing tokenization of a lot of its securities. Now, let's have a look at the charts. I do have a chart on this because right now, and you can see the growth of tokenization of real-world assets, i.e. shares, securities, ETFs, which is all the stuff that's planning on going on here.
That's it. Yep.
We'll bring it back up. I mean, we talk about tokenization, and often when we talk about things like the Clarity Bill and all these other things, at the end of the day, a lot of our listeners are like, dude, I don't care, infrastructure, whatever, what's going to pump my bags? What is going to pump my bags? Well, look, here we go. And this is definitely not financial advice, but let's just have a look at where we are. If we go in, zoom in a little bit, we are up to 1.2 billion or whatever in terms of RWA assets from the middle of 2025. Right, we're just kicking off. We are at the what is it? The first step, you know, to use a crude analogy, like the missile is sitting on the launch pad, right? And it's like saying, hey, do you want to come join this ride?
But how? I think I put a similar chart up like a few weeks ago.
I'm just saying there is 100. Sorry,
Although
to cut
my
you off.
chart was way better than yours because yours, for some reason, starts like 2/3 of the way through. the
Ask
screen.
Claude why he gave me that. I don't know.
Claude didn't. This is you, mate. I can't blame Claude for that.
My point is, the DTCC has around $114 trillion. We're at 1.2 billion. You know, how do you? Okay,
You do the math. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, just think about like the opportunity that's in front of this whole sector
Yeah.
to bring all those assets onto blockchain rails.
Yes.
How do you play it? I have no idea.
Yeah. That's
and
my two.
that's
That's
why
one
I'm
of my
not
two
giving much-
questions. One, how do you invest in this kind of thing? It's
And
not easy.
And I definitely have no idea.
It's
But
not
I'm
simple.
I'm just saying this trajectory you can kind of see, right?
Yeah. So the next. So I guess I read this article, and it's pretty cool. DTCC is massive, and they do a lot of stuff. Obviously, they're kind of like chess in Australia in a way, sort of managing all these stocks. But I don't know if it really pumps our bags per se.
Exactly.
Because
And,
it's not like they're going out and suddenly using crypto. It's kind of more like they're bringing blockchain rails, crypto-y stuff inside. And so it's just like they've seen, like, you know, the proof of concept is in Ethereum, and they're like, okay, we'll take that technology and just use it internally.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that really helps. I mean, it's great. It's a great news story and sort of proves that we're on the right track, I guess, as the crypto industry. But let's see. So Kairatus on TikTok says DTCC tokenizing stocks is like kryptonite for crypto is fake internet money crowd. Yeah, okay.
Well,
So, like, to put this in another way, they're basically saying people who call crypto fake internet money, this is basically saying you guys are wrong. Crypto isn't fake internet money. It's getting used for real stuff. XRP and XLM might be dinosaur coins, but they will be at the forefront. Okay, there's a hot take.
I guess the key thing here is that this market structure, if it moves into these new rails, it's not like crypto. It's separate to crypto markets.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because they're building the tech inside of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you would think that all these rails, for example, now Tom Lee, and again, I'm not. I'm going to do it anyway because whatever.
Then it's Tom Lee. Come on.
I'm going to put words into Tom Lee's mouth. Because Tom Lee has gone out there, and I know he talked about going, look, the entire financial infrastructure of the future will be built on Ethereum, more or less. That's kind of paraphrasing what he said. Now, I'll get to my question in a second, but let's say, for example, this $114 trillion worth of assets, which is just actually still a relatively, I wouldn't call it a drop in the ocean, that's obviously a big number, but that's not all the assets that will eventually come onto some of these blockchains, right?
Onto the blockchains, okay.
Well, once they've been all these assets are going to be tokenized and moved onto a blockchain. So all these assets are going to be moved around, shuffled, transported. You know, I would, I guess, hazard a guess that that's going to be good for transaction fees for
Yeah,
Ethereum
but this
holders.
is outside of what DTCC is doing, right?
Yes.
Because DTCC are doing it on their own blockchain, basically, as far as I know. I don't think they're putting it on Ethereum or anything.
They're doing their own blockchain, are they?
I thought they were like internalizing this blockchain tech to tokenize these things internally. I thought
it was going to use approved blockchains, which
was it? Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Sorry.
Someone fact checked us there. Now we've contradicted ourselves.
Yeah. No, you might be right. The way I understood it was like them pulling this tech into themselves and using it because it's quicker and faster, and they don't need separate systems for settlement and clearing and all that kind of stuff. They were just going to internalize that stuff, but I might be wrong.
Looks like it's private permission.
Private permission
Yeah.
blockchain. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Point still stands though. There's a lot of assets that
I
are
think
moving.
other stuff will absolutely get, like what the NASDAQ is doing. I think that's not
Yeah.
not internalized so much. It's on Ondo or whatever, or backed, or I can't remember.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a bunch of other places that are doing it. Like DTCC is a major one, don't get me wrong, but I think people are going to see what's happening, especially, I was going to say on Hyperliquid, but that's not true because they're all derivatives. But yeah, people are going to see how the NASDAQ are doing it and these other ones where you can actually bring the stocks into your own wallet, and they're going to be like, that is cool.
That's cool. And this is where my question's getting to. Because, okay, sure, whether it's permissioned or private or whatever it is, it doesn't really bother me too much. The point that I'm trying to make is, okay, this shift onto a different infrastructure is happening. And there is going to be a lot of opportunity because all that transaction, all that volume isn't going to happen for free.
No.
And there are going to be businesses and there are going to be opportunities within that general shift that's going to be worth keeping an eye on. That's I guess, my broader point that I'm trying to make here.
Yep.
And exactly how to play that, exactly how to do that, I think, well, I have no idea is the short answer. It's going to happen. You can see that it's going to happen. How exactly you play it from an investment point of view, look, I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see who are the big winners out of all this. This whole shift, all I'm claiming is the shift is happening, the shift is real. Who wins and how people make money out of it, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom Lee, paraphrasing, thinks that it's going to be Ethereum who's going to be the main benefactor of this shift. Hey,
This
exactly.
guy.
Thank you, Tom Lee.
Your favourite thing to do.
But you know what? I like it. I'm here for it. Quite literally. Literally sitting here. There you go. Tom, bring Tom back up. Ethereum is the future of financial infrastructure.
So when you're doing Tom Lee, you have to take your wedding ring off.
Ethereum is not it's just weird when it's gone. We'll have to work out how we sync up whether you put it on there or not. Any other comments on that, Nick?
No. I think, yeah, I thought it was interesting. I also wondered how it would pump our bags, if at all. I think there'll probably be people who look at this and go, oh, God, okay, got to get into crypto. But yeah, at least on day one, if this is day one, it's not really a crypto thing. It's more just they're using our better technology for their old TradFi processes and making things internally better, which is good. You know, I'm here for that, but it doesn't really they're not going to be using Ethereum or buying Bitcoin because of this, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, like I think there are sort of second order effects make this.
There are definitely second order effects. So apparently, how many likes did we get on TikTok thanks to was there a spam bot on there?
1,892.
All right. I like those likes. How are we getting those? We've got a spam bot on there?
Maybe.
Jared has been busy.
Yeah, Claude. It's Claude again.
I think Claude's trying to make you jealous.
I do like
Because Claude's liking us and making sure you can see it. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Nothing rude.
let's move on. So the next story we're going to cover off is, okay, I've been waiting for this story quietly in the winds because everyone talks about like all these big money movers like Western Union and, you know, with people going, will not the digital future, the digital transformation happening underway between blockchains and AI, will it not disrupt Western Union's business model? And the answer, it seems, is yes. And they have decided they're not going to sit around and become the next Kodak. They are going to do something about it. So they have launched their own US dollar stablecoin for internal transfers.
Yeah, so this is, I totally agree. This is interesting. And I kind of got Ripple vibes with this. So, you know, Ripple, when they came out with their proposition to the market, they said, look, we're going to use crypto for remittance. We're going to make it quicker and cheaper and faster, etc. Quicker and faster.
Oh, quicker and faster.
Yeah, so
what about more speedy?
But less slow as well. Yeah, so they kind of did this thing, but I feel like they went about it the opposite direction, the opposite way. So with them, they released, you know, the XRP token. It was this retail offering. Everyone in retail was getting mad about it because of what they thought were the consequences in the company, in the business world, in the institutional world. Whereas Western Union have kind of said, look, we already have the institutional side of this sewn up. Like they are one of the biggest in the world, if not the biggest remitter in the world, right? And they've gone, you know what, we're the biggest in the world and we're going to now use crypto to do this remittance stuff that we already do. So for them, it's kind of...
They can do it faster and more quickly.
They can do it faster and more quickly and less slow. And they're doing it in a way where it's not retail first. It's sort of, they're doing it internally first. And as far as I can understand this story, like the plan is that, you know, later to make it a more retail, you know, they allow people to hold their stable coin and earn rewards, I suppose, on it and whatever. But, you know, for now they've already got the business going and they're going to now make their business even better using crypto. It's very similar to DTCC, I suppose. Yeah. But, you know, they are obviously like a public company, so they can do more retail-y things and we'll see what they end up using this stablecoin for. But I'm always very sort of cynical about, you know, company X has now released another stablecoin. I'm like, okay, just another. Like, you know, you just want to use one stablecoin. You don't want to. And at some point we'll have, you know, the technology and the DEXs and whatever. I'm sure we'll be able to take any stablecoin and it'll, you know, silently behind the scenes, you won't even care. All you'll be using is a US dollar equivalent. Yeah. And it maybe it's USDC, maybe it's USDT, maybe it's USDPT or whatever Western Union's one is. You just don't even know. But for now, it's like, it's just more fragmentation in the market. But the reason why I think it's not so bad in this story is because, as I said before, this is them using it. They're using it for their own flows, right? Yeah. So
it's basically like JPM coin.
Yeah, exactly. Except it is on it's on Solana. It's on a public blockchain. It's not some private coin.
Except it has consent.
I'm surprised. I got to mention JP Morgan a bunch of times, and not a single comment has been like, yeah, talk about more JP Morgan.
Hey, can we... Okay, like, you know how you've been putting heads on people? Can you put a fish on this one?
Yes.
Turn him into a fish head.
Do it.
Yeah, so I think like this is, for me, like kind of like you said, they decided not to be a Kodak. This is kind of an inevitable move. You know, when you see how many people are using stablecoins for cross-border remittance, and it's a big part of our business as well. We you know,
undoubtedly.
do it all the time. People love it. It's very convenient. It helps them do their business activities much easier, faster, and less slow. And so now Western Union are getting involved.
You can't stand in front of an idea whose time has come. I didn't quite get that quote, but you get the idea. And it's just anyone who's used it, anyone who's used a stablecoin to do international remittance or payments will be like, duh. I guess. They probably didn't do exactly
This is
that.
great commentary.
But they definitely went, dude, come on. This is pretty sweet. Why wouldn't we just do this all the time? Can't we just do more of this? That's exactly what they said.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'd like to see how they sort of expand this product, though. Oh, the JP Morgan fish head's here.
Because JP Morgan has used that really efficiently too. Even though, every time it kind of freaks me out. As soon as the image comes on, and I see my own head. I'm like, oh, put back the image.
Kill it with fire.
I don't want to see that guy with his terrible commentary. Yeah. Look, I think this is really interesting, just for the fact that I guess the key points here is that it's going to be an internal settlement mechanism for them, right? And it'd be interesting to know. Not that Western Union is sitting around waiting for people to comment on it and our podcast, but it would be fascinating to see internally what benefits they kind of came to the agreement of going, you know what, once we put this thing in here, what was the difference? I'm not trying to highlight, geez, we had to sack 30,000 people because our internal settlements now become all automated or something like that. But it would fascinate to know that once you, from a company point of view, that once you went and did this thing, what efficiency gains and what time savings and all that kind of stuff was actually genuinely gained. I haven't actually heard that feedback from the market going, you know what, since we brought in our own internal stablecoin, we have basically meant that, we've saved X thousand on internal transfers, we've saved X time on, settlement, we've, you know what I'm trying to say? We've been up, our operational time is now 500x.
Yeah. Have you seen those ads in the lifts where it's talking about Airwallex?
Yes.
And they're literally this. It's like, with Airwallex, I'm saving this amount of time and this amount of money. And I can't remember what it was. Some big company was like, we're saving like $3 or $4 grand a month just using these guys. I don't think Airwallex, as far as I know, Airwallex are actually anti-crypto from what I can tell. They won't, if you try and send, they used to be. I know.
Don't believe they've officially got a position, but it would be interesting to see internally. I suspect they probably have a team looking at it.
Yeah. In terms of allowing their customers to send to crypto exchanges, I've definitely seen some pushback from them. But I also wonder, are they going to have to, fold in as well at some point? Everyone's folding into crypto. If Western Union does it, this is another one of those big guys folding in, and it kind of gives permission to the smaller guys to do it. Yeah, totally. And so I wonder, I'm
going to make it my mission for the next couple of weeks to get some feedback from one of these companies and share it with your people. I'll share with Cheryl. Cheryl, who just jumped on and said, hey, I'm a crypto investor.
Full-time crypto investor.
Hey, full-time. Hope you're making money, Cheryl. Love to hear it.
Is this a meme?
Chloe, the Cryptos.
I've got a feeling it is. I think Cheryl's looking for a response to show that we're down with the zeitgeist, but I can't provide it. Anyway, sorry, Cheryl, full-time crypto investor. I don't know if Cheryl's part of the meme, but the full-time crypto investor sounds very familiar to me.
I don't know.
It's a TikTok creator. Maybe she's impersonating this.
I don't know.
Well, good on you for investing full-time in crypto. I hope you've been short until 3 weeks ago and then long.
You flipped max long.
The whole sell in May, go away. Do you reckon that's going to be the thing? So sell in May, go away is this classic TradFi thing, but everyone uses it in crypto world. Generally, the idea is that prices peak in April, and then you want to sell in May, and you only come back in about November.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's the problem with all these little, I don't know what you call them, quaint little sayings.
Axioms,
sell in June, fly in July, because everyone's doing the tax harvesting thing.
Yeah, okay.
How much weight?
That doesn't even rhyme.
That's
so crap.
Buy in June, fly in July. No, because people sell for end of year.
I get it, but it doesn't rhyme, so it's not a real thing.
Okay. Jared, can you ask Claude to make that rhyme so we can...
Force it to rhyme. Make no mistakes.
Make this better, Claude.
Door hinge.
Orange.
My ability to think creatively has been crushed by AI because I don't know long. I've outsourced. I've abrogated my entire capacity to. Yeah, that too. I never had one to start, so.
You're so right. If you want, I can make a more formal version.
I love it how, have you ever seen AI where they're like, someone was like going, they had AI do an interview with some, and they're like, but the joke was the interviewee was also, the person doing the interview was AI, and then the person doing the interview was also AI. And so it just spiraled into like, yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. Yes, you are right.
I heard of a story out of Korea where this guy had fallen in love with an AI chatbot. But then that's not the funny
There's more.
part. The funny part is that like most AI chatbots are supposed to be sycophantic and they love you no matter what you do. This one pissed his so off that it broke up with him.
Oh, wow.
And so you have to be a pretty bad person to have an AI break up with
shit.
you.
I remember back in the day, like, and I'm pretty sure this was fake, but there was a similar thing where they had two AIs talking to each other, and it wasn't an interview situation. It was just they prompted one, and then got the other one to kind of sit in and like inserted it, so they started talking to each other, and they were talking to each other for a little bit, and then one's like, "Hang on, are you an AI?" And the other one's like, "Yeah, I am." And then the first one's like, "Oh, that's great." And the other one's like, "Yeah, cool." And then the first one's like, "Do you want to talk in like vocal augmented method or something like this?" And the other one's like, "Yep, sure." And then suddenly it goes, stop talking in English, and it's like, and they're just using like this language using sound modulation. Yeah, it was faster than just sending zeros and ones. But again, I think it was fake because this was like 2 years ago, and AI was pretty shit back then, right? So
Clank is going to clank.
I saw the video and it was pretty interesting, but like, yeah, I was like, oh God, they're going to take over. So
Actually,
quickly.
I saw this in the comments. Clank is going to clank. So I thought, like being old, like that clankers like referred to like just like old rust bucket cars or whatever.
Right.
No, Gen Alpha or whatever the current group is. When they refer to clankers, it's kind of like Google it and quickly pull it up here.
It's a robot
It's
AI.
an
It just
AI
means
slur.
It's an AI slur. It's
yeah.
young people going
It's
like
basically the N-word
stupid
for
robots.
Clankers.
Clanker's going to clank. Anyway, I thought, well, you already knew it, so I guess it's not interesting. All right, moving along.
I'm interested in how uncool you are.
Hey, Nick, we haven't got any likes since you started picking on me. But look, we got 2,000 when I was picking on you.
Yes.
3,004. Like, has that number gone up? No, it hasn't, Nick.
It's stayed still since we started.
Exactly. The internet
man.
loves giving you grief, not me.
Shit. Okay. Give me.
All right, so next up, and we talked about, April was the most hacked month in crypto history. Unlike the Michigan index thing, it's not since 1953 ever.
Very good. Yeah, there was a lot of DeFi hacks. 600 and what was it?
629 million US stolen in April alone.
Yeah,
The
crazy
North Koreans
stuff.
have been busy. Like, we know that all you have to do is ask them a simple question, and you could have saved yourself 630 million bucks.
They're denying it
But
was
no.
them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, of
denying it
course.
was them. Of course they are.
Because they don't want to have to answer the question.
Silly. Yeah, that's right. They don't want to get into specifics. That came to no, this is pretty interesting actually. So, what else happened in this paragraph was pretty interesting. It sucks that yes, people lost $630 million. 95% of it was from the two hacks that we discussed: the Drifter protocol hack and the Kelp DAO hack. They made up the lion's share, but what I found was really interesting about this one is that Arbitrum, and again, we spoke about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, Arbitrum froze 30,000 and something ETH, something like 80 million bucks worth of ETH. So a shitload of ETH got frozen because they were like, oh crap, we can actually trace this ETH to the Kelp DAO hack and we're going to like hold on to it because it's bad stuff. It shouldn't be going anywhere. And so they froze it. And everyone was like, oh, you guys are legends. And everyone who didn't freeze stuff were like, you guys suck. So everyone's quite happy with Arbitrum, the Arbitrum Foundation, for doing an emergency kind of freeze on these tokens. But then, what happened next will shock you. So basically, like the Kelp DAO guys are like, you guys are legends, thank you. We're gonna at least use that to partially reimburse, the people who got affected by this Kelp DAO RSF hack. There was a family from South Korea, separate to all of this. There was a family from South Korea whose the pastor of the father, who was a pastor or something, got kidnapped by the North Koreans and executed. So I guess maybe he went to North Korea and was doing some missionary work.
You can't just, as a North-South Korean, wander up to Panmunjom and
Maybe
get
he
across
crawled
the border.
through some tunnels or went in a suitcase. I don't know. Anyway, I actually don't know that bit at all. All I know is he was kidnapped by the North Koreans and they killed him. So
Damn.
he's
Okay.
gone.
That's not good.
So they've got this claim. Yeah, unalived him. They've got this claim against the North Koreans saying, "Hey, you owe us for this bad thing that happened, right? There's like you owe us $50 million or what, I don't know what the number is, but you owe us a bunch of money." And so then when Arbitrum froze that 30,000 ETH, the lawyer for that family put an injunction on the 30,000 ETH saying, "Hey, courts in the US, you need to freeze that and give it to us because now that the North Koreans have stolen that 30,000 ETH, it's their property, and we have an earlier claim against the North Koreans,
No
so
way.
we can claim that back,
Oh,
as our
brutal.
thing."
That's
No,
brutal.
it totally doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? The whole thing, the whole concept of it's North Koreans' property, therefore it's allowed for anyone who's got a claim against them is complete nonsense. Anyway, it's very interesting, and of course, like Aave and Kelpdown, whatever, are saying what? No, absolutely not. So they're doing like another vacation claim to say vacate this thing, or I can't remember the terminology, sorry, but they're basically saying stop this injunction, give us our ETH. This is not your ETH. Just because you also have a claim doesn't mean that and just because the North Koreans took it doesn't mean it's theirs. It of course isn't theirs.
Of course
Makes
it's
no
theirs.
sense. Anyway, this is just wild that these guys are basically gone to court to put this, and the courts have allowed it, at least in the first instance, to say, yep, okay, we'll freeze it until we can figure out what the truth is. This 30,000 ETH is now can't get back to the actual people whose ETH
Kim
it is.
Jong-un, what are you doing?
No, it's not even Kim Jong-un. It's this South Korean family's lawyer.
yeah.
But it's still involved. Anyway, so what was I going to say? There was one other part to this story that I thought was interesting. But anyway, yeah, it's just crazy. The Aave have tried to reverse it. It seems wild that this would even appear. But here we are. That's what I had to say.
Wow. that went places.
Yeah, what next blew your mind kind of thing? Did it?
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was kind of imagining you with Kim Jong-un head on you, but I guess Jared and I weren't on the same wavelengths.
Just passing 2 years.
Yeah, super yachts.
Did you kill him?
No. My super yacht. Yeah, I'm just dreaming of my super yacht.
Oh, sorry. That is, I've now remembered what my third point was. In this situation, it sucks.
And
but
another thing.
Yeah, well, one more thing. It makes me wonder about Arbitrum, the Arbitrum Foundation, in this situation, because they're kind of stuck in the middle, right? They didn't do the hack, and it's not their funds, but they're now getting court orders to do stuff, and they're like, oh God, what do we do? Like they have to they have to do what the court says, but they're just getting pulled in both directions from the middle, and they really have nothing to do with it apart from trying to do the right thing, which then kind of, what's the logical conclusion to this? To me, it's anyone else in this situation is going to be like, you know what, I'm not going to
helping.
freeze.
Yeah.
Because I want to do my best. I don't want to be the bad guy, but if I'm going to get screwed by this whole process because everyone just suddenly comes at me, and when I'm trying to do the right thing, the whole Good Samaritan, we need a Good Samaritan Act kind of for this situation where, if you're doing the right thing, you can't get prosecuted or you can't be out of pocket for
trying to do
stopping a bad thing happening.
Yeah.
So I wonder how this is going to play out. Arbitrum are kind of caught in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very interesting one. That's a very interesting one. Okay.
Anyway, so Jared, do you think that this South Korean family deserves the money?
Deserves is a strong word.
I mean, I don't think they deserved to have the guy killed.
I'd like to know how much the claim is. If it's like
Yeah.
$5,000, give it to him. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's
it's a
not
slippery
50 million.
slope.
I don't know. Like
Then
who's responsible at the end of the day?
North Koreans, obviously. They're not responding to phone calls though for some reason.
You owe us money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those North Koreans, they're kind of just misunderstood entrepreneurs.
Yeah, they're really going for it. I'll give them that. But they, of course, are claiming it wasn't them. But I don't know. I can say what I want. They can't come and get me, right? Well, they could get that in the South Korean dude. Maybe they could get me.
Well, as you know the secret now for finding out they're North Koreans. So when they're kidnapping you, at least you'll know they're North Koreans.
Yeah, because I'll try and force them to say it and they won't do it. Yeah.
You can be in their prisons and you just say it. They're like, ah!
I found your one weakness.
I saw a documentary about a guy. So during the Korean War, so from 1950 to 1953, there was an American defector. So it was some regular G.I. Joe who decided that, he goes, you know what, I'm had enough of this war. He wasn't defecting, but he thought, you know what, I could probably just walk across North Korea, get to the Soviet Union or whatever, and then I'll just go home. Like this guy, obviously, I guess he wasn't particularly bright, but like
That's
he decided.
like a big if.
It's a big if, right? But he decided to do it. You know, not to ruin the story, but yeah, the North Koreans were like, you can't do that. Sorry, mate. You'll come with us.
Yeah.
And they captured him. And what they did was they kind of used him as like a propaganda tool, right? And so he's been living there ever since. And the North Koreans back in the 70s or 80s or sometime around that, they were notorious for going around and kidnapping people. They did that. They pinched people from Japan. They pinched people from North Africa. They pinched people from all around the world, mostly from Japan. And they used them as for whatever the regime was up to at the time to try and extract some money out of people. But anyway, there was this American dude, and they put him in a bunch of like propaganda films, and he was the American guy, which I guess is always the baddie and all this kind of stuff, right? But he ended up staying there, and they interviewed him. He's like, "No, I like it here." He's learned Korean. He's like, "Yeah, my friends are here." He was kind of a movie star. He's like, "Yeah, no, it's cool." And so they interview him. He's like, "No, it's good, mate. It's good." He's American, so he didn't say mate, but you know, you can imagine, in an American way, he's like, "It's pretty cool. I'm here now," and his family's there. So they had kidnapped a woman from somewhere from like the northern part of Africa, like I don't know, Tanzania. Or, is that north?
No, it's mid.
Damn.
It's like Morocco.
No, like Morocco, up around northern Africa, or whatever. And they just kidnapped her, and they basically said, "Okay, you two are having kids," and they're kind of like, "God, okay," but they had 2 kids.
You mean I have to?
Yeah. Death by yeah. But they did, and they had these 2 kids that were kind of Western looking, but they grew up. They were North Korean through and through, propagandized, all this kind of stuff, and they showed them on the video, like in the documentary. But the whole idea behind making these people have Western looking kids was that they were going to become spies. So they look Western, but of course they weren't raised in America, and they didn't sound. They just spoke like you'd imagine a North Korean who'd learned English would sound like.
Yeah, right.
Right. But they looked Western, but they sounded like they were just
Thick accent.
And they were like talking to them. And of course, the dad spoke English. I guess the mum spoke some broken English, and the rest was taught to them by North Koreans and watching TV.
Yeah.
And so they're like, of course, obviously they just show these kids, and they're like, "Yes, we are from North Korea."
There's a North Korean accent going on.
Sorry, Kim Jong Un.
I mean,
Have we got some footage of Kim Jong Un speaking English? I don't know what North Korean accent sounds like. Anyway, that was a terrible impression.
that's a good story. There was also this. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, but these they never got used. So the kids are just North Korean, and this guy's like, you know what, I'm chilling here and I'm happy here, and they're like, you have to say that, and he's like, no, that's my story.
There was, on the other hand, there was that story, I think about 10 years ago, of an American student, 21, 22 years old, went over to North Korea for a cultural trip. They used to have tourism companies that would take you through there. Anyway, everything was fine. He was staying in a hotel, and one night he took a propaganda poster off the wall and was posing with it. Took a photo. He was taken away.
Disappeared.
He was disappeared, and then for 5 or 6 years, the Korean government's like, yeah, we have him. He was spreading propaganda and destroying information in North Korea's capital. And there was this big thing to bring him home. And then 6 years later, North Korea's like, all right, fine. And they delivered him home. He was in a coma. He was in a vegetable. He was a vegetable in a coma, and died about 3 weeks later. And they go, oh, it wasn't like that when we left. It was really sus.
I have heard that story. Yeah, yes, I have heard that story. I'm surprised. I don't know what they did to this poor chap, but obviously, well, yeah, obviously it was bad. I'm just saying that. I don't know what I'm saying. It's a sad story.
Anyway,
thanks for bringing the mood down, Joe.
We talk about those North Koreans week on week, don't we? It's a funny country. I assume, have you seen the that interview movie?
Oh yes, with
Seth
Josh
Rogen
Franco and what's his name?
Yeah, someone Franco.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I obviously that's a comedy, so I'm sure there's a lot of things aren't true in there, but yeah. It's just such a strange country. It's so weird looking from the outside in to try and understand how they live their lives. And here we go.
It's crazy. I mean, they did. So I guess the Korean War ended in 1953 or whatever. And I remember reading some stuff about this, and it was basically like they had a bridge of no return. So when the war had ended, there was like a bridge where the 38th parallel now is, and they're kind of like, okay, you can go with the south. Or we can go with the north, make a choice. And at that stage, there wasn't really a fully formed government in either, really. So they're just kind of like, oh. So they had people just had to make a choice going, no, I'm not on that one. Oh, no, I'm on that one. Yeah, and families were literally divided for 50 years auntie was like, I'm going that way, and brother was like, I'm going that way, and like even families in some case, the dad was like, no, I'm going to take these kids. If you don't like it, I'm going. Or mum was just busy that day shopping, and so she couldn't cross it. And once the bridge was done, it was done.
Yeah,
and
wow.
literally, families are divided by this kind of arbitrary line. It's kind of anyway. But obviously, the North Korean regime has not grown up, is just developed in pure isolation. And it's just, from an anthropological point of view, it's a fascinating study, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, if the North Koreans are watching,
Kim Jong-un's a
don't hack me. Hack Nick. He's got more crypto than I do. I lost it all because of Nick. So he probably stole it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Me and my North Korean pals.
Nick, did you actually say Kim Jong-un is a fat, ugly pig?
Sorry, what was that? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
This is breaking up. Yeah, Kim Jong-un isn't. That's so true. That's a great way to get around it.
Yeah, that guy the North Korean spy should have thought quicker. We still have articles to go. We've digressed. But the next one's a big one because we have to get back to it. Maybe we won't get to all of them today. But I feel like considering we're an Australian crypto podcast, we should probably talk about this Australia integrating digital assets into payments, which is a good one. So there was a draft document from, have you got any RBA? Oh, RBA just raised rates today. Jerks. Who's the governor? Can you stick him on my head so I can read the news here?
Who's the government? Get the wrong guy.
Phil Lowe? Oh, no, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Someone Bullock, Michelle Bullock.
Michelle Bullock. Sorry. It's been 30 years or something since Speed came out.
Really?
Yeah, and the bus looks really old. If you go back and look at it, the bus looks really old. Anyway, throw up Sandra. We'll just go with Sandra.
Talk me through this article. I actually didn't read this one.
Okay, wait until Sandra's up. Okay, so Sandra, what has Sandra got to say? So a draft document from the account-to-account payments roundtable, which includes the RBA, CommBank, some others, outlines steps to integrate stablecoins and tokenized fiat into Australia's payment infrastructure. Yeah,
okay.
That's what it's about.
So is this just another DTCC thing, or is it different?
No, so this follows off some of the work. I guess this is a roundtable because Australia loves a roundtable. Tables with corners, dangerous for starters. But it's all about moving from experimentation. So I think we've talked about this before, Project Acacia and the work that's being done. So modernising Australia's financial infrastructure, that term comes out a lot. But basically it's talking about, well, how do we, there's billions of dollars that get settled into banks every day. And the whole purpose of this is really looking at, well, how do we use modern blockchains to interbank settle on a daily basis, which is in the tens of billions and can be done faster, efficient, quicker, more speedy,
less slow.
Less slow.
Is it a CBDC then?
Yes, this is a CBDC.
Yeah. Okay.
But
CBDC.
what they're saying here is like, let's not just talk, guys. Let's go and do some stuff.
Right, but did they do a trial already of this? Was it an ANZ thing, or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, you're thinking of the trial or the Project Acacia work.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of come out and said, you know what, this is a great idea. Let's do some stuff.
Oh, okay. So this is phase 2 kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I'm not a huge being classic Bitcoiner, libertarian, whatever. But CBDCs don't really excite me, and I did do an air fist pump. When was it Trump? I think said, we're not going to do CBDCs. Mm-hmm. I was hoping that kind of would get rid of them for a while.
Well, this is not so. This would be around using the CBDCs for interbank settlements. So it's not really a retail thing.
It's not yet,
but it is a stepping stone.
It's the foot in the door, right? Yeah.
Financial repression, Nick.
Yeah,
Go on,
that's right. Yep. I've got nothing more to say on this.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll come back to it later when I've got some counterpoints.
Cool.
Right, the Asia Crypto Roundup. Yeah. Jared, got any comments for us? No, the Asia Crypto Roundup. So there has been some developments. I'll quickly run through them. South Korea preparing for a 22% crypto gains tax from 2028. K-Bank is partnering with Ripple. Taiwan is formally raising a Bitcoin reserve proposal. And Japan has classified Japan Coin, JPYC, as a fund transfer service. I don't know what JPYC is.
Stablecoin.
That's okay. And Hong Kong has been warning about fake stablecoin tickers.
Yeah, let's talk about the second one. What was that? I've forgotten already.
K-Bank partnering with Ripple.
Yes. So I found this one kind of interesting because I don't know if you remember 2018 when all the news was around Ripple partnering with these kind of things. Now here we are again. This is everything old is new again. They're doing it again, those Ripple guys. I thought they were kind of moving away from the remittance stuff. Maybe not moving away, but they were like, you know, if you look at all of their acquisitions over the last year or two, it's really been trying to sort of diversify out of the remittance space and start doing other things. You know, they've got the prime brokerage and they've got other things which I also can't remember because memory is very poor. But they're doing stuff outside of this. So this kind of surprised me that they were like, actually, we're back and we're doing remittance and we've partnered with another bank. And I was like, hang on, you always do that. And then like 3 months later, we find out that it was just a trial and nothing ever actually happened. So
there's been there's no doubt there's been some round table involvement.
so, do you reckon they ever do a triangle table?
Never.
Yeah. It's the least amount of points you could have.
Yeah. You know, I think a round table.
It's the closest to a triangle.
What's the optimal table configuration for a good discussion?
Actually, you have a teardrop.
Single point. Oh crap!
Oh shit.
You could. What's the shape where it goes down to 2 points? Like it's sort of a 2 teardrops overlaid with the. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it could just be kind of like a rounded diamond, almost.
Yeah, rounded diamond. Let's go with that. Right. This is good. You heard this here first. Just breaking news.
That was probably the most. That was probably the most interested I've been in a conversation so far. I don't know why we're talking about that, but yeah. So I don't know. I think like this Ripple thing's interesting. I thought they'd stopped doing this stuff, but they're back at it. Maybe this time it's different. Mm-hmm.
Don't know. South Korea 22% capital gains tax. I could deal with that. So yeah, I'm down with that. But I heard like in Australia, and maybe I'm totally wrong here. Are we doing the opposite?
Yeah, we're
getting rid of the capital gains discount which just makes it hella bad.
Yeah, it's look. I know we're still a crypto podcast, but if we're just allowed to talk about tax policy in general,
but like it's still to do with your crypto bags, right? When you're selling.
Yes, I think. Well, two things. There's two thoughts I have on this. One is that like, why would anyone want to invest in a small business or something like that, or anything growth asset when the government's like, you know what, your gain is our gain.
Yeah, yeah.
What incentive do you have to hold things long term?
Especially when your loss is your loss and your gain is their gain.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they don't do the opposite for when you lose.
Yeah. Well, we can offset losses against gains.
If it's not the same though.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Because you're not actually up. But it's like, yes, I agree. So first of all, I mean, that seems to be a blatant tax grab.
Yeah.
The second point though is they bring it, like I thought there was going to be talk about bringing in indexation, which is, you know, so basically your cost base floats up with indexation and stuff like that, which if you think about it just mathematically, after enough inflation, you kind of get the 50% discount anyway, right? So instead of having a nominal base, which doesn't get adjusted by inflation, if you have assets like property and things like that, which kind of float around about inflation, or you have, you know,
yeah, so
you kind of end up getting that anyway over a longer period of time if the asset performs roughly in line with inflation or a little bit above.
Yeah.
In which case, it's kind of like you haven't actually made any tax, you haven't actually increased the housing situation, and you have disincentivized a bunch of people in investing. So I think it's terrible. I mean, I just think maybe there's a better solution out there.
So did we talk about this a month or two ago where I had kind of recently discovered that back in the 90s, that like the indexing thing, that's how it happened? Like that was, you know, capital gains was indexed. And then they were like, you know what, this is too hard. And they brought in the 50% thing. So now they're proposing we go back to the indexing.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we're just reversing course on that.
Just make it harder for life. Just make life harder.
We've done it this way for 20 years and it's time to stop kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know what,
okay.
things will...
Or 30 years, yeah.
Yeah, let's move towards more complication.
I don't know, like I think the indexing thing makes more sense. I don't know, like I haven't thought about it deeply, but like if you're going to tax me on something, it's not fair to do it without indexing. Like 50% capital gains tax for holding it after over a year, that makes sense to me because it's like, you know, your gains are your gains. You're not just getting in and out and doing some quick win bullshit. Like you're investing, and so you can keep some of those investing. Like you made the right choice, you get to keep some of that.
Yeah.
But I think it should be 50%. You get the 50% discount and it's indexed.
Well, if you're looking for an incentive, right?
That's my hot take.
If we're looking for an incentive, I think if you just go, okay, what do you want more of? So if you want less of something, tax it. If you want more of something, provide some incentives, right? If from just the first kind of principles kind of view. So you go, okay, I want more investment. Well, you want more investment in businesses and startups. You could do that, but if you sell it, you're going to have to give half to the government. Like you'd be like, well, I don't. What? No, I don't want to do that.
Like, don't.
So what are you going to? If you want more jobs, you want more revenue, you want to create a structure that incentivizes people to do more of that thing, and you can never get people to do more of something by taxing them more. So, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Totally
There needs to be at least some form of carve out or something that says, okay, great. If you want to invest in housing or existing housing suppliers, we don't really want you to be investing in more houses because we want young people to have an opportunity without tear away property prices. Okay, get that. Great. Noble. But on the flip side, what if you're just going a young entrepreneur and we're like, hey, we would love you to start a business, grow some revenue, pay some tax, get some jobs for people, innovation, all this kind of stuff. What are you going to give that cohort apart from more tax with this incentive, with this change? And I don't know, I feel like, I won't get too political, but I feel like we don't have an answer for that. But maybe this also as well, wait, hang on. Jared's going to say something, so I've got to get in there before he does. No, please jump in. But I was just going to finish. I was going to say, this is all just speculation. We've got to wait for the budget.
Of course.
Yeah.
What if the CGT was tied to the actual performance? So high yield investments would have a higher, or is that how it always?
I mean, that's how
already
percentage works, right?
Okay, yeah. No, but like an inverse relationship. I don't know. Like the smallest amount would be on safe products, so you would get less investment in real estate.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a tiered CGT depending on the asset class, I suppose.
That'd be super complicated, though.
It just makes things messy. My question, though, and I don't know if you know the answer, I thought there already was a carve-out. So if you're like a startup and someone invests in you, you're kind of protected. Like the government's like, okay, you've gone and placed some investment in a risky startup, but we want that to have... So does that already exist?
Yeah, there is. That's true. There is some early stage venture capital tax exemptions and stuff like that which exist.
And are they going to... Is a plan to get rid of them, do you know? Or?
Well, that's the thing we don't know because we're still waiting. So this is rampant, purely rampant speculation, and go talk to your accountants and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because I guess we have to wait until the budget comes out, which is going to be in, a week or two?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we're just... what's wrong? What's wrong with a bit of speculation?
So we need to ask the audience a question. If you or someone you know has used crypto to pay for a house deposit, so if you've held crypto for a while, you're like, it's time to buy a house, sell some of that crypto for a deposit on a loan. Yeah, I mean, like use as collateral. That's the deposit, I guess. Or just use crypto to buy a house. I guess that'd be also interesting. We'd love to get in touch. We've got we're doing a story on news.com.au actually. So please send us a comment on Twitter, DM us wherever, send us an email, and let us know. And we're happy to have a chat with you. And it might be interesting. Get your name on news.com.au, or it doesn't have to be your name. You can just use a fake name. That's fine.
It can end up being anonymous. The reporters will verify the details, but for privacy, we can withhold names and obviously your address.
Or you could call yourself Nick from North Korea, which would be a good one. No one will ever know who you're referring to.
Yeah, bought a house in North Korea with some crypto.
Well, crypto has probably bought many houses in North Korea.
Yeah, I bet it has.
All right, so Nick, seeing as we've yet to do it, I've been avoiding the topic, but you have been saying, I can't wait to talk about this one, quantum computing and Bitcoin.
Yeah. All right, we'll go quickly because we've been... How long has this podcast been going? An hour and 20?
Hour and 20 minutes. Q-Day is coming. And last time we chatted about it, 47 people were interested in your topic.
I blame whoever made the short. They just didn't make it sexy enough,
Oh, them shots fired.
Put me in a bikini. Get Grok to put me in a bikini. And so quantum computing, we've been speaking about this for a while, as not many of you know. Because no one listens to it when I talk about it. So the latest thing that's happened, some guy, actually I shouldn't say some guy, Dan Robinson, who's a researcher at some company, I can't remember, he's basically come up with this proposal called PACT, P-A-C-T, it's an acronym for something, And the idea is, does it say there? Public address control timestamps. Yeah, there we go. So the idea is that with this, I think it would be a soft fork, or they'd have to make a. Oh gosh, yeah. I should have looked this up. This was one of my questions I thought to ask and then forgot.
So not even you're interested in what you're saying, Nick.
I know. I didn't have much time today. Okay, I was busy. And the idea basically is that at any point with your address, you can create a pact, which lets you timestamp proof that you own crypto in an address. And then in a future state, you can come back and prove it with this pact proof, which is stored off-chain. So it's not you don't have to do any on-chain activity. It's all off-chain. And the benefit here is that people who have crypto in addresses that they don't want to signal to the market anything about. So as soon as you move crypto from one address to another, you're signaling some stuff, right? And it could be really vague and, second order, third order, fourth order effect kind of stuff, but it still is a signal, and a lot of people don't want to do that. So the fact that you're able to do this pact thing ahead of time without doing any on-chain activity is kind of beneficial for that situation. And the idea is, I think, that this would be used alongside of BIP 361. So BIP 361 proposes that we freeze a lot of those old addresses, like the Satoshi era addresses, where they're in these unsafe pay to public key addresses, P2PK addresses, where the public key is visible on blockchain. So therefore, once quantum computing becomes real, you can actually just spend. You can use a quantum computer to derive the private key of this address and make a spend, which is not a good thing. This pact thing allows you to sort of put a point in time, and kind of protect your keys. So obviously you have to do this before quantum computing becomes a real thing, otherwise it's pointless. But you do this before quantum computing, you prove it silently on this other time chain public website or something. It's this public protocol that's been around for ages. You kind of timestamp your proof of your ownership of these keys. And no one else can know what you're doing because it's all hashed. And then at some point in the future, if you want to, once the coins are frozen because of BIP 361, you can go, actually, here's my proof that I own those coins, give them to me to this other address, and you can kind of claim your coins back. Now, that kind of works, that's why it works nicely with BIP 361, because the coins are frozen in those vulnerable addresses. My first question was, okay, so what if I spend the coins, like I send you a Bitcoin, you pay me a house or whatever it's worth at the time, and then I go back and go, oh, by the way, those are my coins, and do my pact and get the coins reversed to me. It doesn't really work like that. It only works if the coins are still on the address. So if they get spent, it's kind of too late. As far as I understand this whole thing, it's all sort of just a proposal at the moment, but it is an interesting way to kind of help make the BIP 361, which is extremely controversial, as we talked about last week, freezing Satoshi's coins, freezing all these coins that are in these unsafe addresses, freezing coins that were spent from an address that wasn't emptied. If you can do this pact, it's a way of proving you have control without actually moving them. Because if Satoshi is still around and he's going, oh crap, what do I do here? I either have to move the coins and show that I'm alive, or I don't move the coins and they get stolen. It's kind of the worst of both worlds. He can kind of do this, he or she or they can kind of do this thing, and hopefully it creates a better solution in the scenario where quantum computing comes about. If quantum computing doesn't actually eventuate, then everyone's happy because they've got this pact, they can prove it, but they never actually have to because quantum computing can't reverse the key. So it's sort of, I don't know, I think it's a good, if BIP 361 goes forward, then this seems like a good way of augmenting it.
Nice. I look forward to scrolling past that summary in the reel when it pops up on my social media feed.
Come on, it's like 3 minutes of your time. Get over yourself, mate. Your time isn't that important. Anyway, you're welcome for the knowledge. I'm really angry now. You know what? I'm done.
Hang on. That reaction made it worth it. Thank you. Thank you for imparting the knowledge.
Yeah, you really just pushed my buttons. Didn't you? You just kept pushing until you got your result.
Job done. We're done. Thanks. Well, the only news article we had this week was that Canada has banned Bitcoin ATMs. So
no, they're thinking of it. I don't think they've done it. But
not really a story then if they're just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's an announcement of potential news in the future, maybe. Yeah.
You can just imagine them like, we've lost $400 million through Canadian Bitcoin ATMs. And the government's like, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not really a story then if they're just thinking about doing it. I think about doing lots of things.
Yeah, like buying Bitcoin in 2010. I'm
correct.
I was definitely going to do it.
I
But
was definitely going to do it. We all have an origin story.
was that before or after the divorce?
Exactly. Good. That's the correct. That's the correct question. All right. We've got anything else to cover off this week, Nick?
No,
We
I
have
think
gone.
we're good.
We've done our full allocation. Thank you.
You've given me my 3 minutes of quantum chat. Like, I get
I didn't interrupt you
it's
once.
yes, yeah, but you were smiling in a way where I was like, "You're laughing at me, not with me." I could tell.
I've learned a lot about quantum chat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That was great. I think.
Yes,
I
think
wasn't
I
listening,
did
so I
well.
don't know.
Well, we got so many likes. We haven't obviously didn't do something terribly wrong. Like,
That was our most liked episode ever.
yeah, yeah.
All
Nice.
right.
Oh,
I hope
thanks for liking bot.
Thanks, like.
Thanks, like bot.
We've gone viral in North Korea.
All
That's
I
for
do
sure.
is like.
Thank you, Claude. Thank you, Claude.
Alrighty.
We'll be back with another Claude-induced frenzy next week. Because it'll be... All my notes was written by Claude. I love Claude.
Nice.
Can we share Claude? Can we both be friends with Claude?
Yeah.
No. All right. Till next week. We'll be
Until
back.
next time. See ya.
See you later, dispatchers. Bye-bye.